Well, that didn't last long, didn't it? Yesterday, we made a video talking about Montreal Canadiens young forward Joshua Vois, and how he made a few really inspiring comments after getting sent down by the Montreal Canadiens to the Laval Rocket. It's been quite a busy few days here on the show, and the Josh Vois situation kicked off our Wednesday, October 1st discussion, but here we are, 24 hours later, speaking yet again about the same Joshua Vois that made headlines all those years ago when he was paired with Connor Bedard at the World Juniors. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to see the scoop on him, this video is there for you. But Joshua Vois is a 22-year-old Montreal Canadiens young forward who just got sent down and who hasn't been able to capitalize on the extremely impressive draft stock he had after getting selected by the Habs. He was taken in the 5th round and quickly became a QMJHL superstar, posting up elite numbers in the league as a draft +1 player. As we had said, he suited up alongside of Connor Bedard for Team Canada at the World Juniors, and inevitably became a pretty good Laval Rocket player. Under a point per game for the Rocket in the playoffs the most recent campaign, and he was a guy that was fairly productive, but a lot of Canadiens fans watching Vois in the preseason weren't able to buy into that for the Canadiens. They weren't able to look at this guy and say, yeah, that guy definitively deserves to be one of the 12 forwards that makes it on the team next year. And you also have the fact that as a winger, primarily a left winger, it would already be kind of difficult to break onto the squad in the first place. What, with Juraj Slafkovsky, Patty Laine, and Zach Bolduc all ahead of him, there's only really one spot on the left, and that's on the 4th line, and then you can say that there have been other players that have outplayed Vois, the Andersons, the Gallaghers, that kind of have a spot already reserved. There just wasn't enough room for this guy, and it's not like he showed off much to prove anybody otherwise. Which is why we made the video yesterday saying, hey, the comments that Vois made saying that, oh, he's young, he's got a lot to work on, and he still wants to be committed to working, that's all great, right? Up until we saw this tweet made by Anthony Martone from yesterday. Here is his information translated from French into English. The Joshua clan, or the party of Joshua, will have a meeting with the Canadiens soon. The goal? To clarify the plan regarding the Quebecois forward. If the meeting is not deemed satisfactory for one or both parties, I would not be surprised to see the young man Joshua traded in the coming months. And that is quite the update here. We went from praising Joshua, saying, hey, this guy's got his head in the right place, he's going out there and saying all the right things, this, that, and the other. We went from that to straight up saying, yeah, the guy's probably going to get traded if him or the Canadiens cannot agree on what his future plans should be. And you can notice here, there is an article that is linked as well. Our colleague Anthony Martone provides an update on the Joshua situation. The top reply here says, maybe he should try not sucking. Yeah, I'd say that's probably a good way to prevent yourself from getting cut. But let's dive onto that TVA Sports article published yesterday at 6:14 p.m. that talks about Joshua and how he could be at a crossroads. Forward Joshua, cut from the Canadiens training camp a few days ago, will soon have discussions with the Montreal organization's management regarding the rest of his career. The 22-year-old arrived at camp in the best shape of his life, with a knife between his teeth. But after 2 games where he failed to stand out, he is back in the American Hockey League with the Laval Rocket. It's a disappointing situation for the player whose talent is beyond doubt, but also for the organization. It appears that this is where he's from, Buceron, St. George de Beauce, Quebec, Canada. Okay, I am so sorry, I just butchered that. But it appears that Vois has been instructed to add some toughness to his game. He would also be open to taking minutes on the penalty kill in order to add strings to his bow. But the reality is that he doesn't know exactly what the organization wants from him in order for him to fully establish himself permanently in the NHL, where he has played 35 games with the team over the past 2 seasons. Thus, the Vois clan and the Tricolor staff we'll meet in the coming days to decide on the identity that we really want Josh to have in the NHL, revealed reporter Anthony Martone Wednesday to the JIC show. It'll literally be a make-or-break meeting for the Quebec striker. Expect Josh to leave if the meeting doesn't go well, the journalist then revealed. Is the former QMJHL player on his last legs in the Montreal organization? Now, I will say, the way it's worded here, expect Joshua to leave if the meeting doesn't go well. Maybe that's a lost in translation thing, but that feels very different from what Anthony Martino says in this tweet. If the meeting is not satisfactory for one or both parties, I would not be surprised to see the young man traded. The way it's worded here, it makes it seem like, okay, if Montreal can't agree with what Vois should be, or if Vois' camp can't agree, then Montreal will find a way to get this guy out and he'll be traded. The way it's worded in the article, oh yeah, it's almost like Joshua has the power to decide whether or not he's out of Montreal if it's not to his satisfactory standards. I mean, there are some semantics there that we might not need to dive into, but still, this is a very different update from what we had just seen literally yesterday, where Vois spoke out to the media and said all the right things about wanting to develop and wanting to become great. I guess they can work hand in hand, like Vois committed to doing what the Canadiens want him to do, but if they just can't agree on what that is, then maybe there's a possibility that the guy should be moved. He goes to a team that maybe can use a little bit more of his smarts and not really need much out of him pace-wise or defensively. Joshua, as we had spoken about in yesterday's video, played such a discount Alexis Lafreniere style of game back in the QMJHL. His hockey smarts were through the roof. It's why he meshed well with Connor Bedard at the World Juniors, but it's also why he was crazy productive in this hockey league, because nobody else can match him in terms of the way he sees the game and how he envisions plays going in his brain. Joshua Vois was so talented at just doing the smart play that it netted him 100-point seasons consistently. In Montreal, there are a bunch of other guys that can't see the play very well, and the crazy part is they all skate harder and they skate faster than the QMJHL guys did, therefore giving Vois a much more difficult time to process the game and to play at the speed he needs to. It's quite interesting now how the updates from Anthony Martino kind of suggest that the Canadiens want to see Vois penalty killing, they want to see him add some toughness, they want him to be a little bit more defensively responsible. It's all these things that he doesn't have. And I ultimately do think that these things are not going to necessarily improve what it is that Vois can do offensively, but it probably should be helpful for him to stick around. If anything, I'd say probably getting that production in the NHL, that's also a pretty big thing that he needs to do too. I mean, he went from producing near a point per game in the AHL playoffs to getting 2 goals in 12 Canadiens games. That's it. He's got a lot of work to do, and I think a lot of Canadiens fans feel like other younger guys have overtaken Vois in the depth chart. So it's not like, oh, anybody's clamoring for him to have made the team this year. He just didn't really perform all too well. So with this in mind, this Joshua trade update now being placed in the forefront, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Joshua situation? And what are your thoughts on the Canadiens potentially trading him away if these two sides cannot agree to what the plan should be for him and his development? If you enjoyed this video at any point, feel free to hit the like button. Dislikes are also very welcomely appreciated here. Comments help out with the algorithm, so leave some comments to contribute to the discussion down there. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.